We are going to go talk about NFTs and court stuff. All right, we're talking about Singapore. It was a ruling in a Singapore court that NFTs can be considered digital property, and some are seeing this as, validation of the property-like aspects of NFTs. Others are seeing it as, further creep into the world of digital assets by institutions of the legacy world. Interesting one here, something worth noting. I will toss it down to Adam for his thoughts.
Yeah, I think that the funniest part about this story to me is that it's sort of a continuation of trend here, right? Like, we're so used to not getting any sort of meaningful clarity about any of this stuff from the regulators who are supposed to tell us what it means and sort of the frameworks that they manage, that a court finds in a case that has been going on for quite a while, that's a very minor case about a single Bored Ape. They're like, yeah, you can count NFTs as property. And that's like, it's like, wow, amazing. A court said that. And it's like, well, obviously they're property. Like, to anybody who's ever owned one of these things, to anybody who's ever, even just basically understood what they are, these are clearly property. And yet we have this sort of reaction because it is so rare to get any sort of validation from the traditional financial system, political system, kind of you name it. Like, they don't want to deal with this stuff. And to the extent that they do, it certainly seems like they would rather keep it confusing than try and untangle this ball of yarn. Wendy, I know this is one of your favorite topics too, so I'll kick it over to you.
NFTs are property in my personal opinion, or they can be other things as well. Depends whatever that token is representing. So again, I'm 100% for NFTs. I think that the intended purpose is going to be for like musicians in the especially entertainment industry rights, or to identify if something is truly yours or not. I do want to see positive regulation across the entire world when it comes to NFTs. However, it's going to be an uphill battle because the third parties, the intermediaries, they don't want that. They want to contain full control, and they also want to continue to profit off of folks who might not be well versed enough to understand exactly what is happening. So I hope we get good regulation with NFTs, but at the same time, it is going to be a very, very uphill battle, and nobody better come for my mutant ape. And yes, I do own one, and it's mine.
We talk about precedent-setting law, right? We talk about case law. So when judges make rulings, we look back at those rulings to inform future rulings. And to me, like, Singapore saying that NFTs are property, but then in the States, the SEC is probing Yuga Labs. We have the European Union looking at collections like the Bored Ape Yacht Club collection and saying collections that look like that may be considered securities. So that's collections with, thousands or tens of thousands of PFPs instead of one of one NFTs. And so for me, it's just still confusing, right? NFTs are living in this kind of borderless world. So what law do we follow when we're looking at NFTs and trying to determine what they are? So I don't know what to make about this. I'm still confused. The one thing that I did think was interesting in this case, though, was that the claimant was able to file a suit against someone who was pseudonymous. And I thought that was an interesting piece to precedent-setting law. This person protected their identity. They went by a pseudonym online. A lot of people in this industry do that to avoid being litigated against. And in this case, that did not work out. Zach?
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of several kind of things where, NFTs are inching towards some degree of clarity around what they are, right? We talked about the IRS putting NFTs into the US tax code. We talked about, Three Arrows Capital having their NFT fund liquidated during their bankruptcy proceedings. So there is sort of this emerging consensus around how NFTs are going to interact with structures in the real world, specifically the legal structures. So I think that one to me is also, it's interesting to sort of situate this in the context of sort of a growing awareness and acceptance that these are going to be digital assets that will be property-like for the long term. But Wendy, I'm going to give you the last word on this one.
Really quickly, I really feel like U.S. regulators and regulators across the world are just missing the ball here. There's so many opportunities for them to do their job better with cryptocurrency and NFTs. Like, imagine if you can just serve somebody via NFT. You can literally do that with so many different people. So the United States, again, is not capitalizing on this opportunity. Also, too, it's going to be interesting to see how they determine what NFTs could be securities or property or whatnot, depending on the type of utility it has. Therefore, the Howey test is not going to be accurate in a lot of these different cases. They're going to have to come up with their own framework. And again, I just feel like a lot of these public servants are too lazy to do it because it's hard. Crypto is hard, and that's why we love it.